Europe is accelerating defense spending and locking in long-term military support for Ukraine. But from Moscow, a sharp countercharge. Russia says European leaders are no longer responding to a real threat, but cultivating fear to justify rearmament. Speaking in Moscow, Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov accused the EU of drifting into a dangerous pre-war mindset.
There is serious concern about the manic obsession of EU countries with the chimera of an alleged impending attack from Russia.
Ryabkov flatly rejected claims that Moscow is preparing to strike NATO or EU states. He said accusations of Russian expansionism are being used as political cover for Europe's military buildup, while Russia insists it has no conquest ambitions.
We, of course, do not intend to attack EU or NATO countries. Russia does not pursue the conquest goals attributed to our country.
The Kremlin's message went further. Ryabkov said Russia is ready to legally formalize security guarantees as part of a broader settlement, repeating President Vladimir Putin's position on what Moscow calls equal and indivisible security. But he argued Europe is unwilling to build any security architecture that includes Russia.
We are even ready to legally fix this in the context of a potential settlement of the current crisis based on the principle of equal and indivisible security.
European leaders dismissed Moscow's claims. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said, "Europe now faces a direct security challenge from Russia that goes beyond the war in Ukraine." Berlin says sustained funding for Kyiv is essential, both to secure Ukraine's survival and to send an unmistakable signal to Moscow.
Europe has understood the message. Europe has demonstrated its sovereignty. We are standing up against the biggest security policy threat with determination in Europe, the Russian aggression that has long gone beyond the aggression against Ukraine.
Ryabkov warned that Western actions are eroding strategic stability. He pointed to US missile defense expansion, closer nuclear coordination between Britain and France, and talk of a pan-European nuclear umbrella. Moscow says such moves raise the risk of escalation and could trigger symmetrical responses.
If the US returns to full-scale explosive testing of nuclear weapons, we reserve the right to react symmetrically. At the same time, we continue to take steps to keep open the window of opportunity for political diplomatic measures to ensure predictability and restraint in the strategic sphere.
From Kaliningrad to NATO's eastern flank, Moscow says its red lines are being tested. Europe, meanwhile, says it is preparing for a long confrontation with a hostile Russia, with both sides hardening positions and invoking nuclear-era language. The space for compromise is shrinking. Diplomats warn that any miscalculation could turn this war of words into a direct Russia-NATO confrontation, with consequences far beyond Ukraine.